some of you have signed up to speak at it. So if you want to speak at the special call meeting, you need to sign up. If you want to speak at the public hearing, you don't have to sign up, and you don't have to be a resident at the public hearing. On citizens' comments, you have to be a resident of the county. So now, hopefully, I don't have you utterly confused on that. The other note is, the only item for discussion tonight is this moratorium on this resolution. It's not whether the company's coming or not coming or the rules are changed. This is a moratorium for 6 months, asking the Planning Commission to gather more information and possibly a zone change. So the topic tonight, if you're going to speak, is are you for the moratorium or are you against the moratorium? So that's kind of where we're at. So just wanted to let you know. Mr. Coleman's not here. I'll call our meeting to order, and Mr. Herndon, if you'll have the roll call put up for us. Marcus, you do the prayer or not? All right, I'll get you in there. We have 17 present, 18 present, and 3 absent. So our chaplain's not here, so I'm going to ask Commissioner Reed if he'd lead us in our prayer, and Commissioner Solomon, our birthday boy today, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Father, Lord, we come to you with thanksgiving and praise for your glory. Father, you are the creator of all. You guide us, you direct us. Everything that happens within our lives and within this body happens for a reason. Lord, I pray that we would use wisdom and understanding, and that we would remember that we work for the people and we serve the people, and I'm thankful for the people. Lord, I thank you for the commission, for the people who are willing to serve on it. God, I just give you thanks because you deserve the thanks. You deserve the praise, for you are sovereign. I thank you for this country that you bless us with, for this county. And even with all the issues and problems, there always should be respect and caring for human beings. And God, I just thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I think salute flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I now declare open a public hearing for Resolution 2340. It's a resolution directing all county agencies, boards, and commissions not to issue permits or approvals for the development of battery energy storage systems within Jefferson County, Tennessee, and declare a moratorium on such uses. If you would like to speak at this public hearing, you may come to the microphone and give us your name and address. You have 3 minutes.
I'm John Cummins from New Market.
I don't think that's on.
John Cummins from Newmarket, Tennessee, 1705 Lee Circle, and I'm totally in favor of this moratorium. It'd be a lot better if we didn't have to even discuss lithium battery plants, because it's a bad idea looking at science. If anyone wants to really look at it and investigate and be honest, there's a lot of bad junk science out there. But as I said last time, it looks like Tennessee's a dumping ground for a lot of things, especially coming in from red states. This is just one of many issues, but I'm totally for this moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you. Just give us your name and address, please.
Stephanie Poor, 2225 Piedmont Road, Newmarket, Tennessee. I am for this moratorium. We need to do more research on this to make sure that we have the adequate safety protocols in place for this. There's already been plenty of failures elsewhere, and we can learn from their mistakes, and we can also learn more about this in time, and give us time, because this is so new to everybody, not just us. We need safety protocols in place because it's too dangerous for us to have it here where it's going to be located. And it shouldn't be zoned in A1, it should be industrial.
Thank you.
Gary Lindsay, 913 Dalton Road, Newmarket. I'm a lifetime resident of Piedmont. Went to school with some of you guys here. I'm totally for the moratorium. It's from the safety aspect. This is a majority wooded area, so if a fire did break out, it's just, the property's surrounded by trees. And I can't see that allowing this company to do this, it's not going to add to our economy. It's not going to create jobs. It's going to be an outside company to come in and do this, and we might benefit if there's for power needs, but everybody else on the TVA grid is. So, thank you. That's all.
And his nickname in high school was Piedmont.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Next.
Michelle Light Woodbriar. Sorry, I'm looking at my phone, but I ran off and left my notes that I had printed. So reasons that we should put a moratorium in place. We need to step back and we need to gain perspective. And we also need to look into different types of technology. Our county has 2 lakes that use hydropower, so our county already contributes to energy for this area. Another issue that was never brought up is that the regulations don't indicate the battery type to be used in this county. And so while the developers say that the Tesla 2 might be safer, whatever that means, according to those people that are selling it, there is no regulation on the type of batteries allowed now in our county in a battery facility. So this opens Pandora's box to possibly bring in different types of batteries that may not be as safe. And my experience at meetings in the past is the developers never lie. They just change their minds, or information they provide you changes. And some developers will come and they'll act like experts at meetings, and they bring their so-called experts, yet our county doesn't have experts to counter them. And something I want to also mention is that citizens actually attended these meetings, they contested it, they did hours of research, they gave feedback, and a lot of that feedback, in fact, I think all of it was ignored. Shouldn't the board members truly be diligent to represent the interests and safety of the residents in our county, especially when they've been told that fires have occurred at other best locations? It only takes a spark to get a fire going. I was glad to see that our county attorney was present at the BZA meeting Tuesday night. It was the first time in a long time that I actually felt that our interests were being served. He spent a lot of time going over CARM's website and looking for good questions to ask, and he asked those questions. Regarding the 2 boards, the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Regional Planning Commission, one problem I see on this is that it's the same members that make up both boards. Of course, they have 2 more commissioners that are actually elected that are on the regional planning. But one of the problems I think is we don't have enough oversight from one board to another. So if something gets pushed through on the first board, then it gets pushed to the second. Also, the chairman at the time was the same chairman for both boards. Also, rumors and disinformation was abundant during this time. We kept hearing it's a done deal. We heard this back in like September, October. This is a done deal. We also heard TVA will take it by eminent domain. And this puts ideas in people's minds. It can sway votes. And I think this kind of disinformation is dangerous. We are currently undergoing a long-range planning commission is asking for a survey countywide to revamp zoning. So we need to step back and we need to take some time to look at this. And I recommend approving this moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you. Public hearing is open.
James Nolan, 714 McGuire Road, Newmarket, Tennessee. And I'm totally for the moratorium for 6 months because people here don't know what's even going on hardly about it yet. And it's hazardous chemicals, getting the water, the air, whatever. These people aren't educated on taking care of the fires that can be caused for this or anything. So I'm totally for the moratorium.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Fernando Samaniego, 1780 Hughes Landing Boulevard in the Woodlands in Texas. Thank you again for allowing me to speak today. So we are against the moratorium just because, as we discussed last time, this is a little bit like changing the rules of the game when we have been working with the county through the process that the county laid out to us, and we've been working with the county. I mean, this is my 11th time in a public hearing with different public officials. Just to answer questions that came before, starting with the taxes. Last time, or during the working session, there was a question that we didn't get to answer last time because we were not allowed to speak. But we did a preliminary analysis on the taxes that this type of project would bring to the county. And the taxable investment in a project like the size that we're proposing, it's around $350 million. That, under our assessment, that is tangible personal property, that will be $20 million for property taxes for the county during the lifetime of the project, that is 20 years. This is a significant amount of taxes. The first year will be $2 million. And this level of taxes for counties in general, if another industry will come and provide this type of investment here, they will require a lot of infrastructure. This project will bring those taxes without actually requiring more housing, more sewage, more schools, or more roads. This is basically money that will come in without asking for more services from the county. And we think that's a very valuable thing for the county. In addition to that, it's also the support for the reliability. And we mentioned it before. I think there are questions whether TVA would allow this power to come into Jefferson County or not. The probability of that power coming to Jefferson County when the project is in Jefferson County is higher than if the project is somewhere else. And finally today, we also brought Paul Rogers, who is from the Energy Safety Response Group. They are the battery safety experts in the nation, where if there's any issue with these type of systems, they are the ones that take a call. They are not employees from Plus Power. Yes, we pay them to be here, but their main mission is to protect communities and firefighters. That's what they do. They are part of the boards that write the codes for the safety of these systems. And there has been a lot of learnings in the industry. And this code has been revised many times. So we brought Paul. He will come and speak, but we're here again to answer more questions if you want to have additional discussion. And we're happy to talk about the safety of these systems that we were not allowed to talk last time. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tommy K. Julian, and I live at 1835 Bays Mountain Road in Newmarket. As a bird flies, I'm about a quarter mile from this site. I am against, or I'm for this moratorium and against what they're trying to do at this time. I really don't want to die anytime soon, and I'm frightened. I'm actually frightened about what they're trying to do here in our community that's mainly residential and also agricultural. I can see forward that we need more energy and more power. We have more people moving to this county, but I think there might be other ways that we could do this without 6 million batteries in our backyard, and also the danger to the public. He was speaking of hundreds of millions of dollars. Would that money help any of us if we're going to die or have issues or toxic waste? I don't think our environment can handle this type of a situation with all of these batteries. So I am against it, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Or I'm for it. I say against it. I'm for it.
Hi, y'all. My name is Alicia Benora. I live 710 North Highway 92. I am a recent resident of this community, but I was fortunate enough to be raised in California and grew up in Texas, is what I like to tell people. So I've had a very well-rounded vision about what is going on. What concerns me about this proposal and this company, which I appreciate him coming in, is Is that money really worth our community? I can speak from experience that California and Texas are being destroyed by companies coming in, spewing lots of money, options and deals, and putting stars in all of our eyes. But the fact of the remains, you see it in Austin, you see it in Dallas, you see it in California. Cars are being caught on fire, we can't put them out. What happens to our community? We're all neighbors, we all love it here. We all want to cherish it here. I implore you to think long and hard about this, take your time. And I stand for the moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Rogers. I'm here to speak on behalf of Energy Safety Response Group.
Can you give us your address, sir?
Oh, yeah, my address, the work address is 8350 US Highway North 23, Delaware, Ohio, 43015.
Thank you.
So I work with the ESRG, Energy Safety Response Group. We're a group of firefighters and engineers that look at battery safety from the lens of the responder. We're an independent safety company. We deal with numerous projects around the country. Before I was involved with ESRG, I worked with the New York City Fire Department, where I did 25 years in our hazardous material unit as a lieutenant. And during that time, I worked on battery energy storage system coming into New York City starting in 2013. At that particular time, we were looking at the codes and standards that we didn't feel that they were right. So we embarked on our own mission to try to take a look at the safeties, the fire protections that were involved for a dense urban environment at that particular time. That was the evolution of the first code that was actually put out there to actually address the hazards, in particularly lithium-ion batteries, although we looked at all different chemistries. NFPA, you have in your conditions that you have the NFPA 855. I sit on that standard. I represent the fire service on that standard. It's a very good standard. It's the best that's out there currently. But one of the big things that you need to know about NFPA is they are a life safety standard development organization. That is what they do. They look at life safety and they put codes and standards together in order to actually protect the community and also protect the firefighters. Their scope is to take a look at the installation, the commissioning, the decommissioning, and the operating and design and operating of energy storage systems. Inside that code is one thing that's really, really important, and you should know about it, and that is UL 9540A, which is an underwriter's laboratory standard. So inside NFPA, they tell them, hey, you need to get this product, being the energy storage system, you need to get it tested for safety. Very rigorous standard, very technical standard, very hard to understand standard. I sit on that standard too, represent the fire service. That was one of the things that we needed in order to get these things put in safely in different communities, specifically even in New York City, where we have a dense urban environment. We wanted them to actually fail their systems, improve the safety through this large-scale fire testing that is required. The goal of that whole UL standard is to try to stop the gap, prove that you will not continue to propagate or spread from one enclosure to the next enclosure, or we call it unit to unit. My reputation is on the line here because I go around the country. I'm not involved with them as far as, whether good or bad. If they're not doing it my way, I won't speak on their behalf. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
My name is James Prentice, and my business address is 1780 Hughes Landing Boulevard, The Woodlands, Texas. I'm here tonight representing Plus Power and the Dumpin Valley Energy Storage Project. Thank you for the time and the opportunity to speak. The purpose of the electric grid is to deliver electricity from power generators to homes, to businesses, to you all. The purpose of energy storage is to maintain the reliability of the electric grid. So when you go home and you flip your switches, your lights do indeed turn on. Your community deserves safe, reliable, and affordable electricity. Consider being open to listening to me. Consider being open to listening to me when I tell you that projects like ours will help maintain the reliability of your electric grid. TVA back in 2019 said they need 5,000 megawatts of energy storage. 5,000 megawatts is the equivalent of 20 projects the same size as what we're proposing to build here in Jefferson County. Importantly, 2019 was before TVA announced that they would be retiring their coal assets across their region. So it doesn't matter how you slice it, coal, no coal, renewables, no renewables, there is a specific and significant need for projects such as this. We looked at over 100 substations across Tennessee and the wider TVA region. We found this to be one of the most crucial on the electric grid, one that can provide significant value to the system and the surrounding area. I'm sure many of you experienced the rolling blackouts back in December. Simply put, this did not need to happen. Projects like this will help TVA continue to offer safe, reliable, and affordable electricity. Again, your community deserves safe, reliable, and affordable electricity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Smash, 1081 McGuire Road. I'm a 35-year resident of the Piedmont community and a 50-year resident of Jefferson County. I'm asking you to make this an I-1 and I-2 zoning and keep the 5-mile restriction to any school in this county. For any battery storage facility of this kind, it should never be in an A1 zoning. And if it's as safe and as needed as the Power Plus claims, you need to ask yourself, one, why TVA is not here to talk to us? Two, since Bull Run plant with 750 acres of land is going offline in December this year, why is it not the site for this? It's more capable, already zoned properly. You know, TVA's gotten smarter since the ash spill. You know, it costed them millions of dollars for cleanup damages. This is why they're trying to get done on our farmland. So when a disaster happens, not if, when, it will be left to the Piedmont community, the taxpayers, to deal with the disaster. When all Power Plus and Best has to do is file bankruptcy and walk away and leave the mess for our county, taxpayers, and citizens to deal with.
Thank you.
I'm Keith Brooks, 1641 Lafayette Road. I live a few hundred feet down from this site. I own a 90-acre farm directly across the street from this site. The only thing separating us is the road and a creek. All the residents from that point to Piedmont Store, I know for sure, don't have city water. Everyone's on wells. So if this winds up in the water, we're going to have big problems there. Second of all I hear is about how safe this thing is. UL's approved it. Well, in my business, I replace damaged or failed UL parts every day. I'm in the sign business. Every part of that sign is UL approved. I run service trucks that do nothing but replace failed UL parts. So UL really don't do anything for me on this. Second of all, I don't think we have the infrastructure to fight a fire or maintain a site like this in the Piedmont area. They said they looked at hundreds of power stations. I think they could find one that has the infrastructure, the water. I mean, you're lucky to take a good shower at my house due to Shady Grove water. So I couldn't see a fire hydrant produce enough water to put anything out up there. So I am for this moratorium, and I think we need even more regulations than the ones I've already come up with. This is basically a chemical storage facility. These batteries are full of deadly chemicals, and their magnitude, by putting them all together, 6 million batteries in this thing. So I don't see that you have the infrastructure to maintain that. I think it ought to be in an area that has the water supply, the fire systems to fight something like this. and do more research on the best systems. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Doug Ibbotson. I live at 2510 Indian Creek Road. Let me ask you a few questions. If I propose putting a 40-story high-rise in downtown Danbridge, how would you feel? How about if I wanted to put a fireworks plant in a residential area? How would you feel? How about if I wanted to put a daycare next to the jail? How would you feel? I don't know that a battery plant in A1, I didn't know batteries could give eggs or provide milk or that you could pick fruit. How in the world does agriculture and lithium batteries make any sense? One of the things that Mr. Dockery said when he made his motion was not only that we have a 6-month moratorium, but we look at rezoning for industrial use, which we don't have a lot. That's what I think the question is. Obviously, as a school board commissioner, I'm concerned about Piedmont School and the safety issue, but that's been litigated here pretty extensively. I think the question is zoning. I'm for this moratorium to let the zoning catch up with the use, catch up with common sense. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Debbie Statesell. I'm at 172 Barber Road in Strawberry Plains. I just want to be on record to say that I'm for the moratorium as well. If we think that this is just going to be a New Market or Piedmont, it's not. I'm a trauma nurse by profession. And I can tell you that when there's a trauma that occurs, it's not this big. It's this big. So if we're not prepared to make sure that we are ready for anything that can happen, whether it's zoning, whether it's a trauma, you don't want to go into the emergency room and have them kind of prepared if you're having a heart attack. You want them to be prepared if you're having a heart attack with everything that they can possibly have. So I think on this case, we need to take our time and we need to look at all the options, look at all the things, and we need to be prepared for worst case scenario, not just maybe case scenario or best case scenario. So please look in your hearts and hold off on this and make sure that we're ready for best case scenarios in all rounds, good and bad. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Deborah Hayes, 1459 Cougar Way, Newmarket. And I just wanted to say I am for this moratorium, and I think it should probably be closer to 5 years. We live in a very beautiful rural place because we want to. I can't speak for everyone, but if I have to go for a couple days without power, I lose a freezer, I don't have air conditioning, I simply don't mind in comparison with having to have instantaneous electricity or fiber optics or any of these advanced things. We purposely live in an area that we can enjoy seeing the stars at night, that we don't have to feel the tremendous amount of EMFs that is going to result from some of these types of projects. And also just to say that, you know, as a rural area, we have volunteer fire departments. These guys are giving all of their time, money, resources that they possibly can, but they're not full-time. They don't have the time to train for these kinds of things. We are simply not prepared for it. We're a rural community. And the gentleman that was speaking, that he put this in New York City, well, New York City can have it.
Paul Hardy, 330 Elmwood Drive, Strawberry Plains. Didn't really come up here prepared to speak, but after listening to everybody, the only people I hear against this are the people that want it. Everybody you have sitting right here are your constituents. You're all elected officials. And if you don't listen to your constituents, why are you even sitting here? You're supposed to represent them. My dad used to tell me, if you ever have to rush into a decision, you better just step away. Now, why are we rushing into this? What is 6 months or a year going to take? Is it going to change what they want to put in? Or will it give us more information that we can look into to see what's good or bad for this? Let me talk about these rolling blackouts that they talk about. It's been a pretty damn hot lately. Have we had any yet? They did this December 23rd and 24th. How many times in the wintertime do you hear about blackouts? Why did it happen this past year? I don't know about you, I enjoy my electricity when it's hot so I can have my air conditioning, but I've been enjoying it all summer long. So as far as I'm concerned, you guys need to really sit here and think and listen to your constituents, not about what's going to fill this pockets of people here that are wanting to put this in on our land. Tell them to go find some other land or put it in an industrial area, not agriculture. Thank you.
I don't see any other movement, so I'll declare the public hearing closed. We've already established our roll call, and we have a quorum present. First item is appearance of citizens. David Nelson.
I'm David Nelson. I live at 470 Judson Road in Strawberry Plains, and I'm here speaking on behalf of my own thoughts and not for anyone else. I want to thank you for allowing me time to speak, and I also want to thank Commissioner Dockery for sponsoring this moratorium. Clearly, he is looking out for the interest and safety and well-being of the citizens of Jefferson County. I can think of no reason to oppose this moratorium. It simply does this. It pushes the pause button. It gives us time to better prepare how to manage a very dangerous and risky use of our county's resources. So I pose this question: who stands to benefit from this moratorium? No, it will not be the private developers who come into our county only to buy our cheap land and then send profits they make on it somewhere else. Instead, it will benefit our residents, those who live and work here, who send their children to school here, and who retire here. If you vote in favor of this moratorium, you are voting for the residents of this county. If you vote against it, you are voting for private developers who prey on our resources simply to make a profit. They will not live here or work here or retire here. So I want to close with this question: for whose benefit will you vote tonight?
John Cummins.
Yes, I'm at New Market, and a couple weeks ago I was selling at the farmer's market down in Mossy Creek. Used to sell in Dandridge. Signed in the New Market area that are against this. Once people hear, they are not for this battery storage facility. And I think the more we find out about lithium, the less we'll be enamored by it, because that's what's happened. There's an enamorment with a new power energy. It's a fad. It's something that's just wonderful, But we've seen a lot of wonderful things go down the tubes through the years. And I'd like to mention down in I think around Memphis, they have a Ford Motor Company down there that's losing billions of dollars with their electric lithium cars. Billions of dollars with their electric lithium cars. Billions. And the governor sees fit to put $2 or $3 billion into that losing proposition down there in Memphis. So the lithium's not all it's being, these guys back here are talking about. They're grifting. So thank you very much, and please vote for the moratorium.
James Nolan. Can't change your mind, have you? Okay. Just check.
James Nolan, 714 McGuire Road, New Market. First off, I don't believe in these battery plants because they're not good for our environment in any way, shape, or form. And if the TVA thinks this is such a hot way to go, why aren't they at these meetings talking to the people in this county? And the TVA is closing down their coal plants, so you'd think they would put these battery plants on their own properties, which consist of hundreds of thousands of acres, where the transmission lines are already hooked up and they can hook up to these battery plants. And we, the people in Jefferson County, don't want this. Vote no.
Me vote yes, right?
Vote no on battery.
But yes on the moratorium?
Yes.
Glad to be of help.
I'd already done that anyway.
Yeah. Chris Mash,
I spoke earlier, and I'm for the moratorium.
you ain't changed your mind? Okay. Michelle Light,
Michelle Atwood-Briar. I was just actually sent an article by a friend that is watching online and couldn't be here tonight. This is an article from News 12 on June 30th, 2023. Toxins found in air quality tests at lithium-ion battery fire site in Warwick. They're considered in normal range. It says that dozens of toxins were detected in air quality samples at the site of a lithium-ion battery fire on Warwick School District grounds this week. Of course, they're saying that they're within acceptable range, or whatever that means, whatever their acceptable is. Sounds kind of like East Palestine, that the water was acceptable and that the air was acceptable. Acceptable to who? I don't know. People were getting sick, like I said, and animals were not doing well in the water. Just a couple other things. So what I understand is New York has had 4 best fires since June 1st, and the last pair was there at Warwick, New York, close to a school. And so toxic gases were released. And the other thing I want to mention is, they said the Titanic couldn't sink, the Twin Towers couldn't fall, and I had previously given a list of all the things the government said was safe, including pregnant women could smoke. We later found out it wasn't. Our county and the people in our county are not sucking up the energy, okay? We're actually helping provide it. We have 2 lakes here, and I mentioned that a while ago. It's Knox County, Sevier County, Blount County. Those are the counties bringing in even more population to their already crowded counties. I'm hoping that we continue to develop responsibly here in this county and not overload with too many people, to where we don't put more stress on our system. The other counties, in my opinion, are irresponsible at the way they have been adding people and adding so much so fast. And I say let them bring the best facility to their county. Thank you.
that brings us to our special call meeting. This resolution has 2 sponsors, thus it does not need a motion or a second. Commissioners Dockery and Commissioner Walker. These 2, they have presented Resolution 2023-40. Again, it's a resolution directing all county agencies, boards, and commissions not to issue permits or approvals for the development of battery energy storage systems, known as BESS, within Jefferson County, Tennessee, and declare a moratorium on such uses. And that moratorium is for 6 months. The floor is open for discussion or amendment. Or if you want to vote, sir.
I got a question for Lawyer Grant. Mr. Grant, does this moratorium apply to this project since they have already filed a site plan?
If they file the site plan, I think the question was asked of me last time. The first thing I would tell the board is, as we sit here today, the law of the land are the regulations that y'all passed as amended at the last meeting, okay? So they have to comply with those. As I think I told this group last time, Public Chapter 453 cast doubt on whether or not the legislature even wants moratoriums again. My opinion would be just simply based on that alone, untested, with no explanation or no definitions. I think last time I had told you that I thought if a permit, whatever that is, or an application was submitted and that site plan was considered an application or a permit, however a court may interpret it, that it would not apply to anybody that had applied or done a permit. Again, I want to stress this law went into effect July the 1st, not been tested. There ain't no permits, there's no definitions, but I just want to stress that to the commission. So
you're saying that
based on that alone, yes, that it would not, if that is considered an application, if that is considered a permit, and there's no guidance in that, then based on Public Chapter 453, I don't see how the moratorium would apply to that project.
This would only apply to projects.
Uses, it doesn't apply, I want everybody to understand, this is about uses. This is not about a project, this is about uses.
If there's nothing, this will not stop anything that's already going in place, been filed for, or whatever. It would only be going forward.
If a court interprets their descriptions of permit and application as a site plan, then, in my opinion, based on that, you're correct. But again, I got to stress to the commission, there's not a lot of guidance in that. It's a paragraph long. So,
Mr. Bales.
Last week you said, in your opinion, if I understood you right, that is the moratorium legal?
yeah, moratoriums, well, what I told you was, I think last time was, and I think, and I am trying to answer Commissioner Dockery's question was, it is unclear whether or not, based on Public Chapter 453, if moratoriums based on the pending ordinance doctrine exist anymore. Again, this law's been in effect, whatever today, July 27th, it's been in effect 26 days. So, and I think when Commissioner Dockery asked me that same question, and I think what I said was it cast shade on whether or not the legislature intended to do away with moratorium. So I couldn't tell you with whether, based on that, just alone, based on that statute, whether or not that was the legislature's intent. To be candid with you, I don't know if anybody could, just simply based on the language of it.
You want Ms. Thomas?
I just want to be clear.
Turn your microphone on for us, please.
This resolution would not apply to the site plan that's been applied for. Is that correct?
What I said was, if you look at this Public Chapter 453, it talks about permits being submitted and applications being submitted. And what I had told the commissioner was, if a court interprets that application or permit as a site plan, then yes, you're correct. I don't see, at least based on the the pending ordinance doctrine, how it would apply based on that language in that statute. But again, I know I've said it now 3 times. There's not a lot of guidance with respect to what a permit or an application is.
Mr. Dockery.
Let me ask it this way, Attorney Drennan. If this passes tonight, for intent and purposes, if they want to proceed, they would have to challenge that. Is that correct? We'd have to go to court?
They would, if this was applied to them, in other words, like if the moratorium passes, and the county's position was that it did not permit best uses, if the site plan is considered an application or is it considered a permit, then in my opinion, the moratorium would not apply to them. Ask that again, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just saying, if this passes tonight, if, my opinion is, and I understand what you said about new law, probably not been tested yet. So if this applies and they feel like they have their permit application turned in.
Subject to legal challenge, yes.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure. It's subject to legal challenge.
Correct. The moratorium is, and as is the resolution, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Request to speak. Mr. Dockery, you want you or Mr. Welker, sorry, go ahead, Morris.
Sorry.
I would like to ask, because if we're willing, and I believe that the majority of our citizens sitting in this room expect us to make a legal challenge to stop this because they were not informed, they haven't been brought online with it. But I take it by that we would be using expenditures of our taxpayers in the right, defending them for what they want, not what some outside source wants. Am I looking at it the right way?
The question was,
Can we challenge this if they try to file that site plan?
if they, as I said, if based on that public chapter,
Right.
a site plan is considered a permit or application, I do not see how the moratorium would apply to it. But that's not been, I have no idea how that's going to be interpreted by a court. I don't.
So, and see if I'm using the word right, if we take a stand against this, we would expect our legal for the county to work in some way to call it to a halt till it's decided in court.
If they would have to comply with the regulations as passed last time. If this body wanted me to attempt to apply a moratorium, again, I'm going to tell this body again, if that site plan is considered an application or a permit, I do not see how the moratorium would apply to it. I don't. If the body tells me to attempt some challenge or to stop consideration of the site plan at the next meeting, I mean, that's something I can try, but I want you to understand that. Obviously, you guys are the bosses.
Mr. Byrd.
Okay, this is the way I see it. I'm gonna leave you alone for a few minutes. We don't have this in place now.
No.
We need to get this in place for the future in case if we have another one challenge. I mean, if we don't vote for it now, and we're gonna be in the same mess, if we vote for it tonight, then anybody else that comes in, it'll have already been in place. We need that 5 mile, you know, it can't be within 5 miles of the school, that needs to be in place.
That's already in place.
Okay, so, I mean, either way, whether it affects what's already been passed, it still needs to stop. We need to vote for this for it being in the future, in case anything else comes up.
Mr. Dockery, do you or Commissioner Walker want to close before we vote?
I'd like to say a few words, and it'll be real brief. At our last commission meeting, I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 residents spoke against it. If I counted right tonight, 13 residents spoke very well and made the case, and they say vote yes, they made the case, and what those 13 people said is that's what I think we ought to do. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioners, if you're in favor of resolution 2023-40, that's establishing the moratorium as it's written in your resolution, vote yes. If you're opposed, vote no.
Feller, it's too obvious, John.
It passes 16-1. We have come to the conclusion of our agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I want to address that.
Kettle, it's
And I'll
called
tell
kettle.
y'all why I voted no. We sit here 6 months ago, and we said that the growth, because it's houses, is okay. We can come in there.
I make a motion.
Do you live anywhere near that?
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Adjourned.